Marvel. I feel like this has been like a consistent thing over the past couple of well, we've been 2 months now. 2 months we trying to figure out what to do with the Marvel Cinematic Universe after the recent dismissal of Jonathan Majors. Where are we going with the story as far as the next couple phases? We're going to scratch the character of Kang the Conqueror. Are we going to replace the character of Kang the Conqueror? So we're going to go ahead and introduce a new possibility into the MCU. Well, technically not reintroduced because I'm pretty sure we ended up touching on this when we ended up talking about the Eternals and the possibility of what we could do with the Eternals TV movie sequel, um, with the possible entrance of Galactus into the MCU.
Yeah, I think we touched we briefly touched this topic. Um Galactus. I will okay. I think thinking about it now, before we went on this pod, I was kind of against it because I'm like, you need to introduce Galactus in multiple movies. But I could see, okay, I could see this as a contingency plan, like everything that.
Hold on, one second.
Mhm.
For us that don't know who Galactus is, please break it down for us.
Galactus is how to say, a godlike being who devours world, not because he wants to or because he's evil or good. He is a god creature created by the entity. If you remember, for those who remember watching Thor Love and Thunder, Gorr the God Butcher went to make a deal with entity to save his daughter, I believe it was, at the end. Hence, you got love. So that godlike creature, is one of the big entities in the universe. So in the comics, there is entity who each universe has its own timeline, like meaning like it has a ticking time. So like the Big Bang and stuff. So it's like a constantly general, like it's a circle that constantly keeps happening, a loop, a loop, and a loop. So you got universes being born, and then they get destroyed, and then they get reborn again for millennia. So long story short, it's a lot to kind of comprehend this, but in the comics, entity had blown up the universe probably like the 100th time or something like that, and then you had the scientist, which I can't remember his name at the top of my head right now, and he tries to save the universe, tries to save it, and then gets imbued with cosmic energy from eternity, which caused him to become Galactus. And Galactus is this fail-safe plan created by entity to create balance in the universe. So instead of having these big bangs, like the explosions every millennials or whatever, like centuries, hundreds of centuries in the universe, you have Galactus destroying planets. And it's not because he's doing it because that's his job. It's because he is hungry. So that's why he has heralds to go look for planets to destroy, so he can conquer, imbue its energy, and then collect enough energy to create a Big Bang himself. So he's basically like like a universe destroyer. So that's in the comics. It's possibility they could change the origin story for Galactus, but I could see this as a possibility that what Kang the Conqueror did with the multiverse war, that we get an Avenger game, and they fix the entire universe and the multiverse and all that, and stop the incursions from happening. But then here comes Galactus as a fail-safe plan to be like, y'all caused too much trouble, and now I have to step in and punish all those who had fixed the incursions. Let's just say the incursions were supposed to happen, and then you have Galactus now, like, as a Punisher, to be like, that was supposed to happen, but you all changed the consequences of your actions, and that cannot be tolerated. So that'd be pretty nice to see him come in like that.
So he's not affected by the multiverse.
No. We could have it that Galactus could be like the only. I'm trying to look for a word, like an executioner, like a fail-safe plan, like I said earlier, and the only one in the multiverse, goes from multiverse to multiverse, destroying, I don't know, let's just say on a bigger scale, instead of just planets, he destroys actual like multiverses.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like, just say,
interesting.
like, let's just say the Avengers, like, the whole time travel thing, right? The
Okay.
consequences of the time travel thing was that Kang the Conqueror was born from um, that timeline, and then he created the multiverse war, right? Kane's found other Kangs, and they had this fight, like we were introduced in Loki. So let's say the Avengers find a way to fix these incursions, these multiverse wars, and able to fix and save all these multiverse, and then you have Galactus. Let's say these godlike beings are like, that wasn't supposed to happen. That would, like, we had these incursions to be like, consequences for everybody's actions, and now that
Mhm.
they fixed it, it causes an imbalance in the universe. Like, some things are supposed to die and some things are supposed to live. And then you have these godlike beings saying, you know what? Screw that. Galactus, go in there and destroy these planets. I mean, these universes.
So I'm assuming we're just gonna go ahead and just get rid of the whole Fantastic Four Galactus idea because Silver Surfer plays a big part in this.
I think it would be a cool, neat idea to have Galactus already in the universe, but we just don't know it. And then have Silver Surfer come in like, oh, you guys fix the incursion in the multiverse war, and this is going to be the consequences for your actions. And then the Avengers have a new villain to fight. A new,
So you're gonna make Silver Surfer is he just like the servant of Galactus at this point, or how are we gonna do Silver Surfer?
I mean, you could still make him a herald of Galactus. And let's just say, like, we go through Avengers 5 and 6, like with the whole Secret Wars and then a battle war. The Avengers win, save all the multiverse, everybody gets to live, nobody gets to die. And then the gods are just like, that's not how it works. Like, there needs to be balance to the universe.
I think the biggest problem is probably the Eternals. Like that kind of like screwed up everything for me as far as being able to look anything past the Celestials.
So the way that they did the Celestials is basically how Galactus is supposed to be, except for not being born on a planet. But the point is that they steal the resources from the planet and they feed it to the baby Celestials, and then the Celestials, when they become old enough to be birthed, they implode the planet. They make it explode. Hence why you had Thanos destroying half of all life in each
Mhm.
planet, and then snapped half of all life in the universe with the Infinity Stones. So you remember, like I said, like those things were supposed to happen. Like those planets were supposed to be destroyed, and then that's why the Eternals were created, so these planets can be sped up faster, so they can build up the societies on these planets and steal the resources to feed the Celestial, so the Celestials can be born. Then they wipe the Eternals' minds and then send them to another planet to wreak havoc, to start the process all over again. So that general idea is that it's supposed to happen, right? So it's like a fail-safe plan, right? Like everything
Right,
is supposed to happen for a reason.
right.
So the idea is what I'm trying to get back to is the whole going back to, let's say the Avengers fix the incursions, the multiverse war is no longer, everybody lives, and then like you have these gods who had built um rules for everything, you know what I mean? And it's like, we have rules for a reason, and now these guys just broke it and found a loophole, and that's not how it's supposed to work. And let's just say the universes are not supposed to be expanding all the time. There's only a certain limit that the universes can live for, and then it's supposed to implode on itself and then restart a big bang, a new universe, a whole new galaxy. But if they can't do that, if all the the multiverse is still living, you know what I mean? Everybody's among each other in peace. So then the gods were like, that's not how we were supposed to be living. And let's say they live off the destruction of these galaxies, so they say, all right, fine, y'all saved the day. Okay, you know what? Galactus, go in there and destroy it. And then you got a big new threat, a big new baddie.
Now, considering the fact that Galactus and Silver Surfer are a Fantastic Four villain, does that
Mhm.
put less pressure on the Fantastic Four movie or more pressure on the Fantastic Four movie? In your honest
Hmm.
opinion.
I would have to say less, because you wouldn't have to rely on a Fantastic Four movie. You could do it where, like, like, yes, you're probably gonna have the Fantastic Four in the Avengers movie, right? Like 4 and 5. Hopefully that they do it just right? Like, remember I had the whole thing we were talking about, the rushing, the
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic Four, and having Doctor Doom as a big bad. Like, Doom needs to be built up, like we, like, no, like, but we basically agreed upon. Like, in order to have Doom needs to be built up. So instead of rushing Doom, just have Galactus in the background already exist. Like Thanos existed, the Celestials existed. They're all like pretty much like godlike beings, right? I can see that that's like a loophole for Marvel to say, all right, Jonathan Majors out, bring a new villain and just say that he existed for like for millennia, and we just been hearing about him first, and then have like at the end an end credit scene where the Avengers are like living on Earth and they're like, yeah, we saved the day, yeah, we're heroes, and then here comes Silver Surfer, like, whoo, and then they were like, who are you? And then he'd be like, I'm a herald of Galactus, and he's coming, and he's a destroyers of galaxies, and then they're like, what? And then he was like, prepare, he is coming, and he will destroy everything that is coming with him. War is being raged, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, challenges the Avengers and the heroes, and then disappears. And then you build up new phases to build up Galactus as the new big bad.
Hmm.
What do you think? That'd be a pretty cool idea. And then we forget
Don't,
about Kang the Conqueror.
but that's the thing. Like, this is what's confusing to me is the fact that the Celestials need planets to be born. So wouldn't that kind of like be contradicting in Marvel? Because I don't think the Celestials would just allow Galactus to come and just screw up everything. That's why when they introduced that particular the Celestials in the MCU, it's hard. Like, okay, you can make it work with Kang, I'm assuming, but
Yeah.
when you bring Galactus in, now it's even more confusing. Because I'm not, you can't just, they're not just gonna sit back and just let you just eat all the worlds.
True, then you can have them build up where like you have godlike beings fighting godlike beings, you know what I mean? Like another war. Celestials versus Galactus, or Entity and the Beyonders and all that. You know what I mean? Like you could have like it's now like a God war. You know what I mean? Like a God of War.